found my father's storage locker shortly after he committed suicide. At first, I didn't want to go inside because I did not want to wade into my father's life. Initially, there was never a movie in mind. It was for me an opportunity to look through his records and make notes, to practice a kind of therapy of my own. I didn't want to take any of these materials to my mother's home because she just lost her husband. But one day she saw these notes and said, "Son, you should write a book." And I said, "Mom, I'm not a writer." But I had worked in television for many years, and I wrote a treatment. And having worked in Hollywood for a long time, I sent it to a few friends who are writers in Hollywood, and they said, "This is not a television documentary, this is a film, and you have to be in it." And after my initial shock, I started writing the script. I decided it was important to film no dialogue reenactments for several reasons. One is rather subjective. I do not like talking heads, as we say in North America. I decided that Johnny and Saul's story, while true, is incredibly dramatic. And for me, in my head, I saw it as being very visual. And consequently, because we had to recreate decades like the 1960s and 1970s, I felt it was imperative to shoot 35 millimeter film. Now, of course, everyone told me I was crazy and that I would go bankrupt, and I'm perhaps the last filmmaker in Canada to shoot film. But for me, that aesthetic helped the audience suspend disbelief. And principally because there is no spoken dialogue, the dialogue they do hear are Johnny Cash's and my father's actual voice. And when married to film recreations, looks great. I discovered that in order to get to know my father, I needed to explore his relationship with Johnny Cash. There was no way to remove Johnny Cash from the equation, but I'm quick to add that this is not a film about Johnny Cash. Their relationship is the canvas on which I tell this father and son story. But it was their relationship that was the obstacle, if you will, in my relationship with my father. I am fond of saying that there's nothing special about my movie. It's a story about family. It's a story about family dysfunction, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters. And the reason why I am privileged to be able to tell it is because Johnny Cash just happens to be involved in that triangle. But at the end of the day, it truly is a story of fathers and sons. Grazie.